In this demo, we will mainly see how to leverage the great data provenance functionalities provided by Apache NiFi. We will explore the data lineage graph and see how to replay a flow file. After that, we will briefly cover the NiFi counters page and its functionality, including the flexibility of execute script processors. And as a closing, we will pay a closer look at the bulletin board and how to change logging levels for processors. Alright, so if you want to see any detailed information about any event that occurred on the ingested data in the flow, you need to access the data provenance page. Select data provenance from the global menu. This opens up a new dialog that allows you to see the most recent data provenance information available. You could search the information for specific items and filter the search results. Each line what you can see represents a data provenance event happened to a particular flow file. Various types of provenance events can occur, depending on the data flow design. For example, when data is brought into the flow, a receive event occurs. And when data is sent out of the flow, a send event occurs. But many other types of events may occur, such as content modified, attributes modified, or a join event, just to name a few. For such an event, you can now open several additional dialog windows to see event details. Firstly, the Provenance Event Details dialog, which shows various details about the event, such as when it occurred, what type of event it was, and the component that produced the event, including any parent or children flow files that are related to that flow file. The Attributes tab shows all the attributes of that flow file. You can also show only the attributes that were modified as a result of that specific processing event. And the last tab is the Content tab, showing information about the flow file's content. Here you have like a before-after view of the flow file for this provenance event. You can view the content either directly in NiFi, or you can also hit the download button to download a copy of the flow file's content as it existed at this point in the flow. And here we arrived at the point where you may also click the replay button to replay the flow file at this point in the flow. Upon clicking replay, the flow file is sent again to the connection, feeding the component that produced this processing event. So you could make any adjustments to that component and replay it to produce another output. Let's click replay and we can see on the stopped data flow that there is now one flow file queued in that connection. Let's go now over to viewing the graphical representation of the data lineage. The red point indicates the currently selected event, and the sign above represents the flow file, to which all those events have happened through its data flow journey. You can also open here the provenance details of all the events, or find parents or child, as NiFi keeps track of the parent flow file that produced other flow files. Besides these data provenance features and the NiFi summary covered in the last demo, Apache NiFi is also able to report bulletins for each of the components. Whenever a component reports a bulletin icon is displayed on that component. System-level bulletins are displayed on the status bar near the top of the page. Using the mouse to hover over that icon will provide a tooltip that shows the time and severity of the bulletin, as well as the message. This information can also be viewed and filtered in the bulletin board page, available in the global menu. The logging level or severity of the bulletin is configurable in the processor. Let's now go on with the NiFi counters, which can also be found in the global menu. In our case, we are lucky as our query record processor has a built-in counter and counts all the records read and written of this processor. To the right, you can also reset these counters. Counters can generally be useful if you want to monitor particular values along your workflow. For example, if you're not having it built in one of your processors, then the execute script processor is an easy way to add and update a counter. For this you can use different coding languages, such as Python, JavaScript, or the Apache Ruby programming language we will use in this example. You just need to add this code snippet to your processor. The myPluralSite counter is now counting the flow files written to the local folder.